Welcome to another episode, everyone. King Von's mother, Tasia, just turned 50, and the way that she lives is embarrassing? I don't think so. Or is she just living her best life?
King Von's mother, Tasia, just turned 50 years old. 50. And not only is this woman out here looking like she could pass for somebody's college roommate, she just went viral for posting pictures on the internet that Von would absolutely not approve of. I'm talking spicy. I'm talking bold. I'm talking the kind of content that would have had Von in her DMs immediately telling her to take it down. But here's what makes this whole thing even more layered. This same...
Okay, but she's grown and she doesn't have to take them down. Maybe her husband, if she were married, her man would tell her to take them down, but King Von can't tell her to take those pictures down. She's a grown woman. She just turned 50 years old. Yeah, so I'm already not liking this. This is Rap Thread. Shout out to Rap Thread. The title here reads, King Von's mother just turned 50. How she lives is embarrassing. Embarrassing in all capitals. That's the only word that's in all. Embarrassing. People saying, man, she just living her best life. Who? He's about to talk about the money that she received from King Von or whatever. Who better to receive all of the money and to be rich than his mother? This is who he wanted the money to go to. And she's living her best life as she is supposed to. She lost her child.
Woman inherited King Von's masters when he passed. His entire music catalog, which means every single time one of his songs gets streamed, every time it plays on the radio, every time it gets licensed for a show or a movie or a commercial, she is getting paid. Von literally made his mother rich for life before he left this earth. And on top of all of that, there is a whole beef situation with FBG Duck's mother that the internet has not fully unpacked. And we are getting into every single piece of it today. So do not touch that screen. Do not skip ahead. Do not close out. Because this video goes crazy from the very first second to the very last word. Let's get it. All right, gang. Before we get into everything that's happening with Tasia right now, we need to go back. Because if you only know her as King Von's mother, you are genuinely missing the foundation of this whole story. And you cannot understand where she is today without understanding where she came from. Tasia Bennett is the mother of Daquan Bennett, the man the world knows as King Von. And Von grew up in one of the most notorious housing projects in the entire country, Parkway Gardens on the south side of Chicago. Y'all know it better as O Block. And if you know anything at all about O Block, you already understand that growing up there is not something most people could survive mentally, emotionally, or physically. This was one of the most dangerous communities and one of the most violent cities in America. And Tasia was right there in the middle of it, raising her children. She was a young mother, young, without a lot of resources, navigating a level of day-to-day pressure that most people watching this right now genuinely cannot fathom. We are talking about poverty that doesn't give you bread.
Which is why it's good that she is now rich, that she has this money. Of course, she did not want to lose her son in order to become rich, in order to get the money. But he was looking out for it, certainly, when he was alive. He made sure that she was well taken care of in the event of his death, which, of course, occurred, rest in peace, to King Von. She has his masters, so she's getting money, as he alluded to, every time his music plays, is streamed, Spotify, what have you. But that's what it's supposed to be. The fact that she went through all of this, raising him in this dangerous and gang-infested neighborhood, is her chance to get out of this situation and live a better life for the life that she has left. That's what I would want for my mother. Certainly, that's what King Von wanted for his.
Violence that lives outside your front door, a kind of stress that follows you into your sleep. And through all of it, Tasia showed up. She was present. She kept her family together in conditions that pull families apart. And Von felt that. He saw what his mother was going through and he carried it with him. If you have ever listened to his music closely, if you paid attention to what he said in interviews, that relationship was everything to him. He talked about wanting to change his mother's life. He talked about getting her out of that environment. He talked about making sure she never had to worry about anything ever again. That was not just rapper talk. That was something he genuinely meant and genuinely worked toward. But here's the thing that makes Tasia's story complicated from the jump.
Okay, well, what makes it complicated for the jump? Let me hear it. What makes it so complicated? There it is. He's saying it himself. King Von said it during interviews and everything else, that he wanted to make sure that his mother was well taken care of. This is when he was alive. If he were alive, he would be buying her homes, this, that, and the other. He would have way more money than, he ended up dying having, obviously, still producing, still making music, becoming more famous, more successful. He had more money to look out for his mother, even though she's, of course, again, still getting money because of his masters.
She was not just Von's mother. She was a woman raising a family in a war zone, watching her son become famous, watching the world fall in love with him. And then, on November 6, 2020, she had to bury him. King Von was shot and killed outside of a hookah lounge in Atlanta, Georgia.
APD says the gun battle took place in 3 different spots near Trinity Avenue, where a total of 6 people were shot. 3 have died. One of them, a rapper Davon Bennett, who goes by the stage name King Von. GBI says King Von and a group of men left Opium nightclub and went to Monaco Hookah Lounge early Friday morning.
He was 26 years old, 26. And in an instant, everything changed. In the aftermath of his death, Tasha did not have the luxury of just disappearing into her grief. She had an estate to manage, a legacy to protect, a catalog to oversee. She had kids to take care of and a public that was looking to her for something, some acknowledgement, some continuity, some proof that Daquan Bennett was not just going to become a name people forgot in 6 months. And she stepped up. But we will get to all of that. First, let's talk about the bag. Okay, so this is the part that genuinely stops people in their tracks when they fully understand it. Because I think a lot of people know, in a surface level way, that Von's mother inherited his estate. But I don't think people truly grasp what that means in terms of real, ongoing generational wealth. When King Von passed, his music catalog did not die with him. In fact, and this is something a lot of people do not understand about the music industry, when an artist with real cultural weight passes, their catalog often becomes more valuable, not less. Because the demand for their music does not disappear.
Yes, we do understand that. We do understand that. Of course, Tupac's music became even more popular. Tupac became even more popular in death. So did Elvis Presley. His music still lives on. He's still popular, even though he usurped his style, creativity, and music from Black people. Did Elvis Presley, like all of these other country singers and whatever else. It all comes from Black culture, as does most things in this country. At any rate, and yeah, you're going to become more popular once you're dead. That's everyone and everybody. Michael Jackson's music still goes on. They're still making documentaries about him. And it's going to continue for many, 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 many years. That's just the way it is. So yeah, his catalog became even more valuable in death. His music began to sell more in death. More people were playing his music on Spotify, streaming it, what have you, upon his death. So his mother really began to collect. It's obviously his point. Okay, this is what he would want. This is what he wanted, certainly, for this woman to get this money and go out there and live it up. Post whatever picture she want to post. She's not thirsty. She's beautiful. She's not posting pictures because she's thirsty for some dude or some gold digger. She's rich. She got her own bread. So she's posting these pictures, just living her life.
Dreams keep coming. The placements keep coming. The licensing deals keep coming. And in Von's case, his music was already massive when he died, and it only grew in the years that followed. Now, Tasha inherited King Von's masters, his masters gang. And for anybody who's not familiar with what that means, masters are the original recordings of songs. Owning the masters means you own the actual source material. Every time a Von song gets streamed on Spotify or Apple Music, every time it plays on a radio station, every time it gets licensed for a TV show or a film or a video game, every time it gets used in a YouTube video, the person who owns those masters receives a portion of that money, and that person is his mother. I'm not even exaggerating when I say King Von made Tasha rich for life. Like, not comfortable, not doing okay, rich, permanently. This is the promise he made while he was alive, that he was going to take care of his family, that he was going to make sure they never struggled the way they struggled in O'Block. And even after leaving this earth at 26 years old, he fulfilled it. His catalog has continued generating real significant money, and Taysha has been the beneficiary of all of it. And I want to pause here for a second because I think it's important to hold both things at once. That's genuinely beautiful. The idea that a son's love and talent and hard work can continue providing for his family even after he's gone, that is a legacy in the truest sense of the word. But it is also painful because nobody would trade their child for a catalog.
Right.
Nobody would look at that money and feel like the exchange was fair.
Right. So what are you talking about? Why are you making it seem like this woman is doing something wrong because she's out living her life, having a ball with the money? She was doing all of this when he was alive. She's just out living her life. I'm sure she grieves every day still for her child. But we only have so much life ourselves. She's just trying to carry on in spite of the grief, carry on with the grief. She may be binge spending money. That's okay. It's her money. She can do whatever she wants to do with it.
Taysha would give every cent of it back to have her son here. That's just the reality. But the fact that Von's artistry continues to take care of the people he loved most, that means something real. That is something worth acknowledging out loud. So when you see Taysha out here living her best life, posting content, building a platform, going viral, just know that the foundation underneath all of that is something her son built with his own two hands. And that is a fact you cannot argue with. Okay, now this is the part that broke the internet.
Yes, with his mother's love and support, he built it. With his mother's love and support.
Honestly, I completely understand why. Because what Taysha did for her 50th birthday was not what most people expected. And the reaction from every corner of social media was absolutely wild. Here's the setup. Taysha recently turned 50 years old, half a century, the big 5-0. And when most people hit that milestone, they post a birthday photo, maybe throw a dinner, celebrate with the people they love. Normal, dignified, nothing too crazy. But Taysha? Oh no. She came in a completely different direction. So now 50-year-old Taysha went viral after sharing photos of her completely natural body. And bro,
is it Taysha or Taysha? You've been saying Taysha this whole time. Now you just went to Taysha. Is this AI? Might be AI.
Internet could not handle it. Not in a negative way either, at least not initially. In a genuine shock and awe kind of way. People were in the comment sections absolutely losing their minds because this woman does not look 50. She does not look close to 50. She genuinely looks like she could be in her early 30s, and if somebody told you she was 34, you would not question it for a single second. But what made this moment more than just a viral photo is what she said alongside it. Taysha was using her growing platform to actually inspire women. She was speaking directly to young women about embracing their natural figures, about feeling confident in their bodies without relying on filters or heavy editing or procedures that get hidden and denied. She was showing up as herself unapologetically and saying, this is what 50 looks like when you put in the work and love yourself. And that message landed hard. Her birthday photos and fitness journey content went massively viral, and the celebrations in the comment sections were real.
So why would King Von be so upset about this? About his mother thriving and flourishing and feeling beautiful and posting pictures, just exhibiting her beauty. I don't think that the pictures are distasteful. Now, my girl and my wife, she's not going to be allowed to wear it. Yeah, I said allowed. Say what you want to hear. Call it. She will not be allowed to wear any of this revealing clothing. With her tatas out, her cheeks out, crotch out, any of this stuff. That's just a big hard no. That's a big fat no-go. She's going to know this before she's my girl, that this is unacceptable. But now, anyway, getting back to her, apparently, I don't think she's married. I don't know, though. I don't know. I don't think she's married, though. So I don't know about her her relationship status, but if she's not married, thus her husband doesn't have a problem with it because she doesn't have a husband or even a man in a relationship, then if she's single, she can do whatever she wants to do. Even if she's not single, of course, she can do whatever she wants to do. She has the agency to do what she wills with her own body. naturally. I'm just saying, just speaking about respect in the relationship. If her significant other asks her not to go out a certain way, I would suspect that she would honor that. But if she's not in that sort of relationship, then her posting pictures or whatever, I don't see what the problem is. She's spending the money, she having fun. I'm sure she's grieving too. We saw her there at the grave. Who knows what this woman is going through? And some of this stuff, I'm sure, is just an outlet to get out there. I would want my moms out here having a ball, having fun, spending up all that money. You can't take it with you. I couldn't take it with me, and you can't take it with you. What you gonna do with it? Put it up in the basement, put it in the bank? Man, better go have a ball.
Fans and followers were going crazy over the fact that she genuinely does not look her age. People were guessing she was 32, 35, maybe pushing it to 38, and she was sitting right there at 50 years old looking like that. That is not an accident. That is not genetics doing all the heavy lifting. That is a woman who has put in dedicated, consistent work on herself.
Yeah.
And now that she has the time, the resources, and the peace of mind that Von's success provided her, she is showing the world what that dedication looks like. But y'all know the internet is never fully one thing. There was also a section of people who felt some type of way about the photos. Some people felt like it was a little too much for the mother of one of rap's most beloved artists. And if you knew Von's personality, you understand where that reaction comes from. Von was protective. He was very openly protective of the women in his life. He had strong feelings about how the women in his circle were perceived publicly. So the idea of his mother posting that kind of content, there were people saying, without question, that Von would not have been comfortable with it. And honestly, that is a fair conversation to have. Both things exist at the same time. You can celebrate a 50-year-old woman glowing.
Okay, well, King Von just would have had to get over it. And unfortunately, he's not here to have a problem with it. So, she's doing what she's doing. Unfortunately, he's not here to have a problem with it. So you can't really say, well, he would have a problem with that if he were here. So that's to say that she shouldn't be doing it because if he were here, he would have a problem with it. Well, he's not here, unfortunately. Unfortunately, and that's probably why she's doing it. And again, rest in peace to that brother. I wish he were here. Though, there have been many stories and documentaries about King Von and some of his danger, his propensity for danger or violence, if you will. Doesn't mean that these documentaries or accusations or rumors are true. I have no idea. But she's just living her life. I mean, yes, some of the pictures are a bit risque, if you will, somewhat revealing. Probably be too much for my wife. Yeah, probably be too much for my girl. Yeah. Yep. Probably too much.
Up and living freely while also acknowledging that the son she lost might have had a very different opinion about the photos. That duality is just part of this whole story. But what nobody can deny is that Tayshia is commanding attention. She has built a following. She has a platform now that she is using, and the internet cannot look away from her. At 50 years old, after everything she has been through, after burying her son and carrying that grief for years, if she wants to step out and feel herself, who is actually stopping her? Now let's shift gears because this next part is where things get genuinely heavy. And I need y'all to follow this closely because there are a lot of layers and I want to make sure I give you the full, accurate picture of what went down. Let's talk about FBG Duck and his mother, Lashina Weekly, known online as Mama Duck. FBG Duck, whose real name was Carlton Weekly, was a Chicago rapper who was shot and killed in August of 2020 on the Magnificent Mile in broad daylight. It was one of the most shocking murders in Chicago rap history, happening in a crowded shopping district captured on camera, completely brazen. And it happened just a few months before King Von himself was killed in November of that same year. 2020 took a lot from Chicago. Mama Duck became a very public figure in the wake of losing her son, and she has been vocal. She sat down for interviews, including a significant one with No Jumper, and she did not hold back on what she believed about what happened to her son and who was responsible. She addressed the rumors directly. The allegation that King Von had put $100,000 on FBG Duck's head, that Von was allegedly behind the hit on her son, and her position was clear. She said in her words, "They proved it." That is what she put on the record publicly. She also said that the people allegedly behind the shooting had been, in her words, telling on themselves for a long time before anything was officially established. Now, that is a serious allegation. That is not something you throw out casually in an interview. And the fact that Mama Duck said it publicly in content that is sitting on YouTube right now for anyone to find, that created an enormous amount of attention and controversy around Von's name and legacy. It put people who love Von on the defensive. It put Tayshia in a very uncomfortable position because she is the one holding the estate, holding the name, protecting the legacy. But here is the part that genuinely surprised me and that I think a lot of people missed in all the noise. Mama Duck's tone in those interviews was not purely hostile. She was not just out there trying to tear Von's family apart for fun. When you actually listen to what she said, it came from a place of grief that is impossible to fake. She said that the deaths of both her son and King Von did nothing but hurt their families. She said she felt betrayed by the person who allegedly shared her son's location. And then she said something that hit completely different. She said that people losing their lives over a song is unnecessary. Over a song, gang.
Yeah, of course, and this is what happens all the time in the hip-hop industry, particularly as of late. Individuals with diss songs denigrating or desecrating the dead, someone's loved one, and there's often retaliation for this sort of rhetoric. And we see it all of the time, people going to people's graves and doing things, but okay, so there you have it there. So perhaps the mothers have something going on, I don't want to say some sort of beef, but FBG Duck's mother accused King Von of being responsible for her son's death.
Think about that for a second. She was speaking to the idea that so much of the tension between the two camps was rooted in music, in lyrics, and diss tracks and public call-outs. And her position was that none of it was worth what it ultimately cost. She said losing both of them only hurts their close families. She said she feels lost and consumed by all of it. And y'all, that is not beef energy. That is a grieving mother who is trying to make sense of something that will never fully make sense. So the framing of this as simply Von's mom versus Duck's mom is way too simple. The actual deeper tension came through the legal system. FBG Duck's family filed a lawsuit against King Von's estate, a civil action with real financial implications, not just a social media back and forth.
What?
That is what Tayshia has been navigating on top of everything else. Legal proceedings that involve her son's name and his money and his legacy, while she is simultaneously grieving and building and going viral and commissioning murals. The weight of that is something most of us cannot fully imagine. And yet,
Well, what is the lawsuit? It must be for wrongful death. Are they accusing King Von? Well, we already know that she accused him of having her son unalive. But is that what the lawsuit is about? I don't know what else she would be suing him about. So she's in open court, on the internet and whatever else, openly accusing King Von of being responsible for her son's death to the tune that she's filed a lawsuit against him. So yeah, of course, then King Von's mother, Tayshia, would take issue with this, accusing her son of such a crime and being responsible for it, and then coming after his estate and coming after his money and all of that. When she's in control of his money and his estate, yeah, well, that may engender some conflict.
He is still here, still moving, still holding it down. Which brings us to the part of this story that I think deserves the most respect, because beyond the inheritance, beyond the viral photos, beyond the beef and the lawsuits, what Tayshia has done to actively honor her son's memory is something that does not get talked about enough. Okay. And I want to give it the space it deserves. Tayshia has made it her mission to make sure that Davon Daquan Bennett is not forgotten. Not as a rapper, not as a celebrity, but as a person. As her son, and the ways she has gone about doing that are genuinely meaningful. She has been instrumental in commissioning murals of King Von across Chicago. Large, vivid, painted representations of his face on walls throughout the city where he grew up.
Okay, then. So she's not out here just partying and living it up and doing whatever she wants to do and not caring about her son or his life or his legacy. She's putting a lot into his legacy, keeping his name alive. That's her job.
Understand what murals mean in Chicago, in that specific culture, You understand that this is not a small gesture. Murals are how communities say this person was here. This
Yes.
person mattered. We will not
Yeah.
let time erase them. Tasha made sure that when people walk through Chicago, when people drive through the South Side, they see her son's face on those walls and they remember who he was. That takes effort. That takes money. That takes showing up and coordinating and caring enough to make it happen when grief could easily have pulled her completely inward. She did it anyway. And then there is Grandson. For those who don't know, Grandson is King Von's posthumous album, the project that came out after his death. And posthumous albums are complicated in a way that people outside the industry don't fully appreciate. You are sorting through unreleased recordings. You are making decisions about what the artist would have wanted included, what he would have left out. You are working with producers and label executives and managers while the world is watching and the fans have enormous expectations, and the weight of getting it wrong is real. It is an emotionally and logistically difficult process. Tasha was a key figure in making Grandson happen. Because who on this earth is better positioned to make decisions about what Von would have wanted than the woman who raised him from birth? The woman who knew him before the rap career, before the fans, before any of it. Her involvement in that project was significant. And the album exists, giving fans one more chapter of Von's voice, his stories, his artistry, in large part because she made sure it happened. Gang, that is not a woman who cashed a check and went quiet. That is a woman who said, my son built something real, and I am going to make sure it endures as long as I am breathing. That deserves a standing ovation, for real. She keeps his name in the conversation on social media.
Okay.
She marks his birthdays
There you
publicly.
go.
She acknowledges the anniversaries of his passing. She shares his story with anyone who asks, and with plenty of people who didn't. And in a world where attention spans are shrinking and the news cycle swallows people whole, and artists who were massive can become afterthoughts in a matter of years, the fact that King Von's legacy is still this alive, this discussed, this present in the culture, that is not an accident. A huge
Okay. So why the headline, King Von's mother just turned 50, how she lives, is embarrassing. I haven't seen anything embarrassing so far. What has she done that is embarrassing? Again, if she was my wife, no, you couldn't dress a certain way. Nevertheless, I don't believe that she's married. She's enjoying her life, enjoying the money that she has. She raised him. He's supposed to leave her the money. So I don't see anything embarrassing about it. But of course, I understand. I understand how YouTube works. But still, I'm just saying. Yeah, I might put it in my title. What are you talking about? It's in your title too.
huge piece of that is Tasha, every single day. So let me now put this whole picture together for y'all, because I think when you zoom out and look at everything at once, the full story of who Taisha is right now
Rest in
is
peace,
genuinely
Von.
one of the most compelling narratives in rap culture. And most people have been approaching it way too surface level. This is a woman who grew up without resources, raising children in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in America, who watched her son claw his way out of that environment and become a global phenomenon.
Right.
Who lost that son at 26 years old and had to carry that grief publicly. Who then had to manage his estate, protect his legacy, navigate a lawsuit, and respond to serious public allegations, all while figuring out who she is now that the person she lived to protect is gone. And today, she is 50 years old and she does not look it. She has King Von's masters generating income that will last for generations. She is building her own platform and her own voice. She is commissioning murals. She is keeping Grandson in the conversation. She is out here posting photos that have the entire internet talking. She is moving through grief and through life at the same time, which is honestly the only way forward when you lose someone like that. Is everything she does universally praised? No. Are there people who think the photos go too far? Yes. Would Von have some words for her?
We don't care about what them people think, man. We don't care about what them people think, man. Don't hate. She out here living her life. She's beautiful. She's not concerned about what anyone thinks, clearly. She posting these pictures on the internet. She's scantily clad, I guess. Some of the photos, but she's not stark naked or anything. She's not on OF or something. Was she doing embarrassing? She's just living her life without her child, navigating this cruel world and these cruel streets without the individual that she protected and the individual that protected her. He was 26 years old. So she's grieving, will be grieving for the rest of her life. And how she grieves and how she spends her money to try to decrease or mitigate the anger and the bitterness and the pure pain that we'll never understand. It's just how she has to do it. I see nothing wrong with it. Rest in peace to King Von. Shout out to his mother. She's just trying to live her best life. She is putting some of these young bras to shame too, though. Sheesh. I'd be ashamed. Hey. All right, man. Woo. Let me know what you think in the comments. Gonna get up out of here, man, before I go on and on. Get myself in a situation. Get in some trouble or something. Excuse me, but I don't see her doing anything wrong, just living her life, trying to make it. Successful, building her own presence online or whatever, okay. But she is managing his life or his legacy and managing his money or the money that he left, building it and building her own legacy. That's what he would want, as the narrator said more than once, that King Von worked for this while he was alive, that he wanted this for his mother, for his family. So now that she has it, it's fine. The only criticism that he seems to have is that she posted some pictures online that some people felt, not just him, or he's just reporting, but other people were getting in the comments or whatever, saying, and I can imagine it's the internet, having a problem with some of those outfits that she was wearing and posting it. Bringing up King Von and your son is dead and this is the kind of stuff you wear. What does that have to do with it? Some people can just be mean, man. So I'm sure she did receive some sort of backlash for some of the outfits, the outfit that she showed up to the cemetery with and all that. You're going to see, I heard something about that, in fact. You're going to see your son, you're going to your son's grave dressed like that. What is this? Well, that's her just being herself. Again, if it was my girl, yeah, it wouldn't happen, but she's not my girl. So there you have it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free, people.